Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new HTML series. In this series, we will start with basic HTML concepts, and as we move forward, we will learn more advanced concepts. This is an introductory video. In this video, first we will cover some of the history of the web and HTML. After that, let's try to understand the basic concept of website interaction. And then we will end the video by introducing fundamental concepts of HTML like HTML elements and tags. These days, whenever we come across a new phrase or a concept that we are unfamiliar with, we just open a browser and get the answers right away. Not only we exchange a lot of stuff in social media, but we also do a lot more things on the web like shopping, learning, gaming, even trading. All of this is feasible now because of Sir Tim Berners-Lee's invention of the web. Let's just think what motivates him to create the World Wide Web. Let's consider project development scenario from the past. As we all know, project consists of several submodules with various teams working on each module. In those days, they were storing the data differently on different machines. If a user needs any information, he or she has to log on to that particular appropriate system and then obtain the necessary data. It caused numerous issues for the person in charge of the integration process because he has to know all the systems to be integrated. This is the reason behind the invention of the web. He invented it by linking the hypertext to the internet, and he used three technologies to do this: URL, HTTP and HTML. By using URL, we can identify any web page uniquely, and HTTP helps us to get the data to browser, and HTML is a main markup language to render the page on the web. Now let's try to understand the high level interaction of a website. When we request for a web page, the client machine sends an HTTP request to the server, which will be identified by URL and returns the resources to the client, after which the browser will display the content to the user. When we talk about HTML these days, it's not simply HTML. It is a combination of CSS and JavaScript. HTML will provide the logical structure of the page, that is, order of the elements, and CSS helps to style the document, that is, font size, background color, like that. We can relate CSS to the theme we use in Word document. And lastly, JavaScript will give life to the page by providing responsiveness to user actions, like navigating users to a different pages. Next, let's see the full form of HTML, that is Hypertext Markup Language. Now let's try to understand these two terms, namely hypertext, markup, with few examples. Hypertext is the fundamental concept of the World Wide Web. Now let's see what hypertext means. If we observe a research paper or a page in a textbook, we might come across these kind of numberings, which we call them as footnotes, where we can find more information about those tagged words or phrases. It will be good as long as the paper is small, but if it is too long, it may have more words, then it can be cumbersome. Let's look at this Wikipedia article that has clickable links within the document that refer to appropriate document. Using this, we can easily go to various relevant pages. This is how HTML provides a simple and uniform way to incorporate hyperlinks in a text document. This is what hypertext means in the HTML. Next, we will see what markup means. Essentially, it means to annotate a document with extra information. For example, if we take a look at this document as a human, by looking at it, we can easily identify different types of content it has. We can say that it has a title which is followed by two paragraphs and ends with an image. However, the computer that analyzes the document may not be able to distinguish between different types of content in a page. Thus, to assist computers, we must add some extra information to the document, as shown in this image. Computers can now distinguish between different types of content on the website with this annotation. This method of annotating a document is known as markup. There are many ways to mark up a document. However, HTML uses technique from HTML, which uses angular brackets to separate the annotations from regular text. In HTML, these annotations are called as tags. If you ever listen to a web developer's conversation, you will most likely to hear these three words: elements, tags, and attributes. Everything we view on the internet may be considered as HTML elements. For example, header, paragraphs, images, and even videos. All of this can be treated as individual elements. These elements are the basic building blocks of HTML. If we depict a basic HTML file in a figure, it might look like this. It has a single element called HTML with two elements in it, namely head and body. And as indicated in the illustration, each of these contains some other components. We call this type of structure a tree structure. That's a fantastic image to represent a file. But how can we actually represent such a structure in a text file? That's where tags come into picture. These tags are used to mark up the text file. They are just strings that indicates the computer where an element begins and where it ends. With this markup, computers can easily determine which parts of the text are markup and which parts are the actual content to be displayed to the user. As we discussed, we use angular brackets to create these tags. Now, let's look at the syntax of the HTML tags. To fully describe the element, it requires open and close tags with the element's content in between these two tags. Most elements have both open and close tags, but a few are unusual. We will learn more about these in later videos, but these unusual ones are known as self-closing tags. Close inspection reveals the both open and end tags are identical, with the exception of having an extra slash just after the less than symbol. This information is used by the browser to distinguish between open and closed tags. That's it for this video, guys. I hope it was helpful, and we will meet again in another video. If you have any question, please leave them in the comment section. Thank you for your time.